The Boy Scouts of America are celebrating a milestone this year. 2010 marks 100 years since Scouting began in the United States. Founded in England shortly before 1910, the Boy Scouts quickly gained popularity here in the States. Terry Hegarty, who himself was once a Scout, met with local troop leaders and found out that faith has always been a key ingredient in Scouting.
2010 marks the Centennial of the Boy Scouts of America. The organization still helps youngsters to develop character and leadership skills as it emphasizes today many of the things that have made it famous over the years. There are several things for which members of the Boy Scouts of America are known, but the first priority for most Scouts is still God.
Let us give glory to God together.
Scouting is built on the Scout oath and law. Duty to God and country is first. Duty to others, duty to yourself. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful. You've heard this probably dozens of times.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, the Scout oath begins. One of the points of the Scout law, a Scout is reverent, is also written on the outdoor altar facing attendees at the chapel at Camp Chesterfield in Chesterfield, Mass.
A Scout is reverent is very important to them, and we've had a diocesan Catholic lay committee since Bishop Weldon started it, actually, 1951, I believe it was, and he was all gung-ho for it.
Father Plass is chaplain of Scouting for the Diocese of Springfield. He's been involved in Scouting for the past 35 years. He and other diocesan priests regularly celebrate Mass for Catholic Scouts and provide Vespers services as part of Scout camps. Each of the 2 Scout camps in western Massachusetts, Camp Moses and Camp Chesterfield, has an outdoor chapel. Catholic Scouting is also one of the more than 40 ministries that receives funds from the Diocese of Springfield's annual Catholic Appeal.
The kids, they do think about their relationship to God. The kids of all ages, they have it in their heart. And I don't have any problems talking with any of them, and they'll talk very openly about their feelings, and I think that's important. We've got to listen to that.
In fact, Father Plass says he listens by simply being available.
I have some of them come to me for confessions, and they've got deep-seated problems with family, and they talk about it, and they've gotten to sort of know me over the years, and they trust and come and openly talk about it in a spiritual vein, and you can't replace that.
The Boy Scouts of America sponsors a National Scout Sunday, which emphasizes to Scouts of all religions the importance of their faith. Founded on February 8, 1910, the Boy Scouts of America is still thriving today. Even with tremendous competition for the time of young people these days, the Boy Scouts of America still boasts a membership of more than 114 million. When most people think of Scouting, they naturally think of camping and the great outdoors, but the religious aspect of Scouting is fundamental and affects all aspects of the Scouting experience. There are several religious Scouting awards that youths can earn, which emphasize the importance of religion. Many local parishes also sponsor Scout troops.
All of the major faiths of the world recognize Scouting as some form of their youth ministry, and the Catholic Church is no exception. And most of those major faiths develop a religious emblems program to allow the Scouts to learn more about their faith and their association with Scouting.
Bob, a longtime Scout leader, has served in most every capacity of Scouting. And he says that while Scouting has changed over the last 100 years, the values of the organization have not.
I have always thought of Scouting as a great movement, an opportunity to learn a lot of things that you don't normally learn in school or in church or in the community. And I think the ideals that have been brought forth 100 years ago by the Boy Scouts and that are still followed today are certainly principles that all young men should be following.
In the 1930s, Catholic bishops in the U.S. created the National Catholic Committee on Scouting. Bob has been active in the religious aspect of Scouting on both the local and national level for decades. For the last 20 years, he has served as chairman of the Diocese of Springfield's Catholic Committee on Scouting. Last spring, in recognition of his work and dedication on the national level, Bob received the prestigious Silver St. George Award. In 2010, the award was given to only 3 people in the United States.
It was indeed an honor, and I was really quite surprised. I'm very humbled, but again, on the other hand, I appreciate very much the recognition that's been bestowed on me.
However, Bob says awards are not what he cherishes most.
The recognitions that I've received over the years have each been, in their own respect, a rewarding opportunity, but I think it's the kinds of things that you have when you're interacting with other kids that really you remember for a good number of years.
Daniel began in scouting, as many young boys do, as a Cub Scout. That was in the early 1970s, and he never left.
Scouting is a great program. It teaches you leadership skills, it teaches you organizational skills, outdoor skills, how to take care of yourself. I enjoy working with young people, teaching people.
When not teaching in his scout leader role, Daniel is a high school teacher in Chicopee. Daniel says that scouts are always trading patches, practicing their scouting skills, and learning to work together and perform as a troop. The leadership skills that the young scouts learn serve them well later in life.
It's a great parallel system where kids get an idea of how the world works. They're the ones that'll be the class presidents. They're the ones that'll be the captain of the baseball team or something. And they're the ones that they learn to communicate. They learn to get along with they'll be the future leaders of our country.
After spending essentially his entire adult life in scouting, Bob says the most memorable scouting moment for him was when he was a youth. He was 14 years old and had traveled from his home in Vermont to California for his first National Scouting Jamboree.
The opportunity to sit on a side hill and see 50,000 kids each holding a candle representing their faith is still touching.
With faith in the forefront, scouting in America is now going forward, perhaps for another 100 years, all the while instilling character and leadership skills in its young members. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.